the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell them what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. And I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. Yeah. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up.
Has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And for the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation by all you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. And of course, we are live on local stations. We're also live on live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And we're live on YouTube/NAN, N-A-N. And I think that on all these platforms, we are growing every day, trying to reach as many people as we can. And in these times, we absolutely need to stay as often as we can in the public square talking about what's going on in the country and the world. A lot to talk about today. The Chief Justice Roberts of the Supreme Court kind of rebuked President Trump on his rhetoric about impeaching the judge that demanded that the alleged Venezuelan gang members that were flown out of the country, and the judge said they should not be flown out, and if they're in the air, turn around. Trump wanted them impeached. And he appealed to the Supreme Court, and it appears that the Supreme Court Justice Roberts rebuked him, saying that that does not happen. Interesting. It seems that Trump has even gone too far for people that has been basically supportive, at least in terms of their legal decisions of him. And I keep saying to anyone that'll listen to me that his narcissism is going to lead to his self-destruction. He's going to go too far. And I think that this is a case of that. Not enough that he is winning, in my judgment, some unfair ability to deal with migrants and in an unfair way, labeling Haitians and people from South America and Central America one way, while he's offering refugee status to white South Africans and wanting them to have a joining of the United States by Canada, which is mostly white, and Greenland. That's bad enough. But now he's just going to throw any kind of pretense to the wind that he's the king. And I told you that I want these Venezuelans, who has not even been proven to be gang members, by the way, to be sent back. And how dare you not do what I say, or you going to make a ruling against me? Well, Chief Justice, who's no liberal, to put it lightly, said, no, wait a minute. And he kind of rebuked Trump. Every day it's another indication to me on what we're dealing with and what some of us predicted. I told you yesterday how, and I said it on Politics Nation over the weekend, how by some unexplained occurrence that the blacks and women in Arlington National Cemetery, the National Cemetery for the military, how all of a sudden on their webpage they wiped out all the blacks and all the women off the webpage. They don't know how it happened. They'll get it straight. Then we found that a black man who had been given the Medal of Honor for his duty in Vietnam, all of a sudden he's wiped off the webpage of the Department of Defense. Now this morning it breaks on NPR that segregated facilities are no longer explicitly banned in federal contracts. We'll read first couple of paragraphs. After a recent change by the Trump administration, the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. The segregation clause is one of several identified in public memo issued by the General Services Administration last month, affecting all civil federal agencies. The memo explains that it is making changes prompted by President Trump's executive order on diversity, equity, and inclusion, which repealed an executive order signed by President Lyndon Johnson in 1965 regarding federal contractors and non-discrimination. The memo also addresses Trump's executive order on gender identity. Trump repealed Lyndon Johnson's executive order on discrimination and has said you cannot refer to diversity. You cannot refer to any of this any longer. And mandated that with an executive order over all federal agencies. Now, somebody explained to me how that is not going back toward pre-1954 days. Somebody explained to me he wants states to decide education. Let's dismantle the Department of Education. He does not want blacks to be remembered in the military, even though they gave their lives for this country. And now he says contractors does not have to say in contracts with the government. And let me remind you, contracts with the government is paid for by taxpayers. So we can pay our taxes. They can use our tax dollars and contract with people that do not have to say that they will not have segregated facilities. They had to say it until now. Now, I just don't understand how many times people are going to try and make excuses for blatant, unrelenting bigotry that this president has demonstrated. I mean, if you all right with a bigot, fine, say that, but don't act like it's not bigotry. There's no way you could say what all of these occurring one right after another. DEI over, discrimination by the Lyndon Johnson going forth for the last 60 years over. Now you don't even have to put on contracts over. Mysteriously, black military people wiped off of websites. I mean, Trump and his team is not trying to hide where they're going. Why are some people trying to twist themselves into a pretzel, trying to explain something that they ain't trying to explain? They just doing it. They saying, boom, we're going to let y'all know where we stand. I'm going to welcome the whites in from South Africa, putting the black Haitians and the browns, Mexicans out of the country, and I'm going to erase black history and black contribution. How you like me now? Oh, yeah, and black men, y'all vote for me because I got swagger. Are we really that stupid? Have we really gone that far asleep? Well, the Democrats haven't done nothing for you. They did the things that you're now revoking. They haven't done everything I want them to do, but you're undoing the things they did. Let's take a break. We need to talk about this stuff. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. The more you grind, the more you realize that people look and behave exactly like the choices they make every day. Whatever your choices are, how you eat, how you exercise, how you handle your temperament, how you handle challenges, whether you're disciplined, all of that is reflected in how you appear and how you behave every day. Your daily choices. That's why no matter where I am and no matter how much I have to do, I stay on my grind, working out, watching my diet, and trying to deal with my temperament because my behavior is a reflection choices that I make every day. And I don't worry about people being in opposition. People that oppose you are the ones that believe in your power and your potential more than anything. If they would oppose something that didn't have some force and power with it. So make your daily choices carefully and be very loyal and committed to the choices you make.
Who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
and
a race baiter.
Yeah, right. I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustling, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
That's when Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on civil rights and politics.
As far as I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work, but you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
We got three, put them on the board right. You're live, sir.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Twitter.com, The Rev Al. Twitter.com, The Rev Al. And you that have comments, you can go to the live stream and watch me do the show and put your comments in. Excuse me. Put your comments in on the board there on our live stream, and I'll read some of your comments on the air and also take, of course, some of your calls live over the radio. Let me remind you that every Saturday and Sunday, I strongly, particularly during this time, when they are going back into contractors, don't have to deal with with segregation, or the Department of Education, half of it already fired of the personnel, and now they saying let the states run education. All of this stuff they're doing to blacks, even Elon Musk saying that the killer, the police man who killed Derek Chauvin, who killed George Floyd, should be pardoned. You need to know what's going on and what is being said and not said. And that's what I do every Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC. I get the ratings every Tuesday. Good audience. We beat a lot of the other shows on Saturday and Sunday. But it's not about ratings to me. It's about information flowing and people getting the real deal and having the people that are in the middle of it. I had a couple of governors, 2 senators, congresspeople on, and dealing with them on this whole shutdown and what this means, that means. I'm not the kind of show that just have a bunch of ivory tower philosophers that just talk theories. If you like that, and that's entertaining, that is not my show. We deal with real issues, what's happening to people on the ground. You're in a position, what are you doing about it? And I'm talking about black folks. That's the show. Now, if you want that, fine. 5 o'clock Saturdays and Sundays on the MSNBC. If you want somebody that'll tell you some feel-good stuff or a lot of philosophy, but not going to change or even challenge the conditions we live in, I'm not your man. And I don't apologize for that. Also, let me say that you that are in the New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut area, meet me or beat me to the Saturday Action Rally. I'm there every Saturday. I will be there definitely this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And, of course, you that are not in the New York area, you can watch it live on Impact Television, the largest black-owned gospel network in the world, or you can watch it live stream on nationalactionnetwork.net. And the National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 3rd, we've been signing up. A few thousand have signed up people to register for the convention. I put on nationalactionnetwork.net the agenda, the confirmed speakers and workshop leaders so far. I'll update it probably by Thursday because we have some more people that are going to guide some workshops and do some things coming on board that have come on board. But you can come. It's free, but you should register, which guarantees you a seat. And let us know. I can come only one day. I can come 2 days. I can come all 4 days. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number and say, I'm signing up by phone, take my information, and they'll take it at 1-877-626-4651. But we have everybody from Stacey Abrams to Ben Crump to Dr. Michael Eric Dyson to Patti LaBelle being honored. We have 8 state attorney generals. We done everything from criminal justice reform to how to deal with voting rights to how to deal with the Trump administration to DEI to how we protest. And we coming out that Saturday with our conclusion on who we boycott and how. And I can tell you now, I'm not going to be calling for a certain amount of days. I'm going to be calling for wherever we go that we do it until they rescind making a commitment on diversity. You cannot have a diversified consumer base and not guarantee that you're going to have diversity in your contracts, in your boardroom, and in your C-suites. That don't work. People want to sell us their product diversified, but they don't want to make no commitments. Talking about what President Trump said, we can't do that. Then good. Tell President Trump that we can't buy from you. And when you learn to listen to your customers more than you listen to him, we'll be back. Just that simple. I'm not arguing with you. Trump cannot pass no bill. He has a majority, Republican majority of the Senate, the majority of the House. They can't pass no bill to make me buy from somebody that is not committed to what is right in our community. All right, let's go to some. Let me read some of the comments on our live stream. Wayne Lyons is saying, Grand Day, Reverend Al. Toledo, Ohio freedom fighters are present and listening. I'm glad to hear that's a lot of good energy. I need you present and listening until the great activists there, too, by the way. National Action Network West said, good afternoon, Reverend Al. The time if never before, all those sideline doing nothing critics to step up or shut up. That's from our West Side region. Let's go to the phones. Let's hear some people by phone. Let's go to break. I'm coming right back to Dwight in Atlanta, and then board is filling up. I'm coming to everybody. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Where Frederick Douglass laid. Don't stand on the ground where Rosa Parks lay, unless you're going to really do what it is we committing to do. Because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against wickedness, principalities, wickedness in high places. I want everyone, if you're resolved, to just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, Al Sharpton, do solemnly commit that I will stand up and rise up in the name of Dr. King, in the name of Frederick Douglass, in the name of Rosa Parks, and I will defend equality for all, diversity, equality, inclusion, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, immigration rights. I commit, I take this oath that I will not become like those I'm fighting. I'm not for violence, but I will peacefully stand against those that want to bring us down. I commit this in the house of God, on this sacred ground. So help me God. Congratulate yourself. While you're standing, I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters who both have come into their home or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others. The way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself. Work is required. And if we can't stand up now, you got a president in the White House that has said outright, I'm not going to have diversity. Outright said he's not going to deal with the question of racism. Outright said he's suspending anything that guarantees that we're going to deal with the question of racism. In fact, he said they are oppressing white folk. What Trump said. And you are not saying nothing. And you in the pulpit? Well, every prophet in the Bible, everybody in the Bible prophesied and preached according to the time. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. Deacon Sam Martin said, love you always, Reverend Al. Love you back, Deacon. I'm reading you on our comments on Cheryl Young, good morning, freedom fighter on board. She's checking in, and I'm glad about it. I need freedom fighters. We all do, all over this country. We need all the freedom fighters we can get. Let's go to Dwight in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK. Dwight?
Hey, Rev, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm lovely. First of all, I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
But I just want to make a couple of comments. The first one is, I know that on the Republican side, they were making a push about getting Trump put on the on Mount Rushmore or whatever. Now, I think we should get our own mountain for the ones that look like me and you that have sided with Trump and looking at all the devastation that's happening to things that we worked for, our parents and grandparents worked for, and they're being taken away now. And those same people, I think we should call it Mount Hushmore. They need to be exposed and put on there, and I wonder how they feel now. And a lot of them, I'm sure, did it for financial reasons. And in saying that, I think they took a line from your Godfather song about, I got mine, don't worry about his.
Right. Right.
But if you had to, get 3 people or 4, who would you put on that Mount Hushmore? I know I have a few, for instance.
Well, give me your few. I certainly would put Trump there, but go ahead. You give me yours.
Okay. I'm talking about like Candace Owens, Clarence Thomas, Herschel Walker, Snoop, Floyd Mayweather, and Tim Scott, just to name a few.
Wow, you was ready for that one. I don't disagree with your list. At Mount Hushmore, you might hear me use that a couple of places. I like that, Dwight.
Hey, you got my permission, brother.
All right, y'all heard it. Dwight authorized me. I can roll with it. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Pastor Jerry. Pastor Jerry's in Milwaukee on WNOV. Pastor?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
All right, this is Rufus. It's a pastor.
Okay, well, they gave you Pastor Jerry's line. Go ahead, Rufus.
Yeah. I was, I'm always speaking on the spiritual tip, but, I'm not.
We lost Rufus. We lost him.
We lost Rufus?
Yeah, he just hung up.
He said that he was on the spiritual tip. Do we have Pastor Jerry?
No, we don't got Pastor Jerry.
All right, let me get Linda then in Washington, D.C., WOLB. Linda?
Hello.
Hello there.
Hi there, Reverend Sharpton. Yes, this is Linda Davis in the nation's capital. I call because I'm very, very concerned with what is happening in the U.S. With President Trump rolling back so many accomplishments that blacks have made over the years. So I'm fearful, and it's almost as though he's provoking black people to rise up. So I'm concerned, and therefore that is my question.
All right. Well, I think he is really trying. I think he's really trying to, in many ways, roll back the gains and wins that we were able to gain in civil rights since 1954. I really think that's what he means by Make America Great Again. And he told us that's what he was going to do. And I don't understand why some black men went and supported him, and now you're not man enough to say, I was fooled. And just say, I thought he was going to do better. I thought he was going to do something for us. He's only been in 2 months as of yesterday. And he was inaugurated January 20th. We were in Washington at a church, had a huge rally, took our oath to keep the dream alive. Some people listening to me right now were there and took the oath and have lived to that oath. And in 2 months, he's knocked out DEI, fired half the Department of Education, now saying segregation does not have to be on federal contracts, saying that he wants to make states in charge of education. And we've got black soldiers all of a sudden taken off the website at Arlington National Cemetery, a black Vietnam Medal of Honor hero taken off the Defense Department's website. That's just a few things in 2 months. I mean, it feels like 2 years. And I think that, I don't know if he's trying to provoke us or trying to pay the debt that he told his supporters he would do this to us, or if this is just how he feels and just wanted to get back in power and do this. One of the three, I do not know, but I know he's doing it. And we ought to be provoked, but not provoked to violence, because I think he wants that. He wants a good riot so he can mow some of us down. I really believe that. I think that we must be provoked to mobilizing. I think we got to punish the private sector with boycotts, because they can put the pressure on them if they start feeling it in their pocket. And we got to be prepared to vote. I think it's on us how we're provoked. Yes, he's trying to provoke us to answer you, but how we're provoked and provoked to do what is what I think we got to be careful of. Thank you for your call. Let me go to Jerry in Cleveland, Ohio, WERE. Jerry in Cleveland.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I just wanted to say what you said about the segregation, that really hit me. And the thing that hit me, it doesn't surprise me, but the thing that hit me is, are you the only one talking about it? I haven't heard it anywhere else.
I'm telling you. Well, NPR broke it, and I'm reading it off of NPR's website. We take these shows seriously and do the research, and that's why I do all I do. Radio. I'm on radio 7 days a week, 5 days a week on this show, Sunday morning show on FMs, and the National Action Network's rallies live on radio. I'm on radio every day. I'm on my TV show twice a week and try to do Morning Joe 2 or 3 times a week, and then Nicole Wallace, because there ain't a lot of us out here. And I've been able to break through and say what I say without sweating it down. But you can Google it up. They have said clearly, it's on NPR, that you do not, this is the federal government under Donald Trump, saying the federal contractors, you do not have to put in the clause about segregation. This is unbelievable.
Well, the problem I have is that one thing Trump does do is when he says something, if you notice, he'll repeat it 3 times, and then he'll keep saying it over and over again. And what happens is, if you're one of the few people who talks about it, usually when it's something that concerns blacks, what I've noticed is the media might mention it once or twice, and then all of a sudden you don't hear about it. If it's,
I think you're right.
When they were talking, when they talk about anti-Semitism, they talk about it constantly.
Right.
When they were talking about the Asians, but whenever it concerns blacks, you don't hear it. And I think that's why a lot of things fall through the cracks.
Yeah, we got to keep talking about it. We got to keep talking about it. You're right. And those of us with a platform, and there's only a few of us, need to keep these issues out there. And people say to me, don't you get concerned? They always say, Sharpton always bring up race. And I'm concerned that we don't bring it up. Look what they're doing to us. But I thank you for your call. I got a lot of calls. Let me go to Janet in Baltimore, WOLB 1010. Janet?
Hi, Reverend Sharpton. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I disagree with you about Schumer. I don't think that he is doing this because he's concerned, because if he just looks back at all the stuff that has already happened, from firing people, closing buildings, trying to sell buildings and all that kind of stuff, he's going to try to shut this government down, whether we are closed officially or open officially. He's already done everything that he could possibly do if they would have had the shutdown. I don't see no different in it. I think Schumer.
So what is you disagree with me about Schumer? What do you think my position is on Schumer?
I thought that you were taking his stance that not doing the shutdown was the best of
No, what I said was that my heart was that they should have stood up and fought. My head was, when he explained his position, I understand what he's saying. I didn't say that I agreed with either one. I said my position, my heart still is they should have shut down. But I think that I understood the rationale he thought with. Didn't mean I agreed with it, and it didn't mean I don't agree with a lot of these so-called progressives either, because they don't never mention nothing about black folks. So they cannot. A lot of those that jumped on Schumer, the progressives, don't jump up on DEI and none of that. So I listen to both sides and give my view. But my view is, I'm talking about shutting down with boycotts. My view is shut them down. And I think you raised a very logical point that I think a couple of people brought up yesterday. They already are shutting things down. Trump. They look what they did to the U.S. AID, and what they did, and they didn't have the legal grounds going to African Center yesterday. They shut stuff down, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna call Schumer and say, why aren't you talking about that?
Right. But my feeling is that Schumer was helping because he is a Jewish person. I think he was trying to distract from what Israel's doing, because Israel's still dropping bombs, and they ain't got no more buildings to bomb. Now they bombing people and starving them.
I don't think he has to distract that. Trump is distracting that. Trump is Netanyahu's partner, and he ain't said a word. And if you remember, he was the one who said he would solve the Gaza situation in a day.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Jules. Well, let's take a break. I'll be right back and go to Jules in New Jersey. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action, and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there. That's when Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, came to me, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year on Civil Rights and Politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We gonna shine and shade. Give me a papa God where you make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
From the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, where injustice goes, he follows.
30 years ago, Yusuf Hawkins was the young 16-year-old brother killed for being in a white neighborhood in Brooklyn. I got stabbed leading one of those marches.
Keeping it real with America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You live, Rev?
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to our live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can, on the live stream, put your comments in, and I'm reading as many of them as I can. Let's go to Jules in New Jersey. Jules, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Reverend?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm gonna say this is a very honor. I didn't think I would be able to speak to you, but it's an honor to speak to you.
Thank you.
My name is Jules Brown. I'm a 15-year-old entrepreneur in Newark, New Jersey. I own the Youth Spirit Club International Incorporated, a youth organization I recently started. And, you know, each day that I wake up, I don't get any positive energy from anyone, and I'm struggling now, and I need, guidance and assistance. I actually met you at DEI before you got into your car. I requested a picture. I'm not sure if you remember me, and
you saw me where?
At when we were at Costco and Union.
Okay.
Before you got in the car, I requested a picture from you.
Okay.
And it was me and another young lady. We were the only young people who were there. And I believe that we should give youth a seat at our government. We should give youth the opportunity to make decisions too. Now, I believe that
when you say give youth a seat in government, what do you mean? In government how?
Allow youth to make life. You might think differently, but one thing I believe is that us young people have a lot of intelligence and knowledge, but today's world make us seem like we don't, especially our color.
No,
now,
let me say this. I don't disagree with you because I did it. I became youth director of Operation Breadbasket under Jesse Jackson when I was 13 years old. Started my own group when I was 16. And we have youth department in National Action Network now in just about every chapter of young people. In order for young people to have a seat, though, mind you what I said, they got to be in the room. They got to join. I can't go outside and get youth that are not working with the organization and put them in and ignore the youth that are there, that are doing the freedom fighting, that are doing the working. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you have something and want assistance, we have the National Action Network. We have the NAN Newark Tech Center right there in Newark. If you went over there and talked to our Reverend Bartley, I'm sure he'd want to see what you got to see and see what he can do to help you. We got a building right there in Newark.
All right, I did not know that. Thank you for that information. And, can I ask for some guidance? I was trying to, I called your office today. I was trying to get, to see if you can come out. I'm doing a funding event on May 3rd. and I would love for you to.
Well, you did the right thing. If you call the office and they will ask for Nancy Crawford, they'll get it to me. And if there's something that we can do, I would be glad to do it. Just call the office back, ask for Nancy Crawford, tell her you talk to me on the radio, give her the details. Let's see what we can do. And ask her how you can get the Reverend Bartley right there in Newark, and let's see if we can help you. He has a lot of young people there, but a young entrepreneur, we need more young people in entrepreneurship. And just like Jesse and James Brown helped me, I want to help young people, but I can't help who don't come to me. I can't imagine them. They got to come. Like I went and I got help. I owe it to young people that I do the same thing. Thank you for your call. I'm going to look to meet you and see you. And then I'm going to walk up and say, can I take a picture with you?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much, Reverend.
Thank you. Let's go to Yusef in Hawaii. Yusef.
Yes, sir. It's an honor and privilege to talk to you every day, all the time. You are right on the retaliation on the president if we go against violently. You are correct on that 200% because I was listening to you the other day, and I was thinking about it. Rev, you have always came out on point on every. It's like you know this president, and I'm glad that you're on my side, sir. When you look at J.D. Vance, he talked about Yale, the Secretary of Defense. No, I think J.D. Vance is Harvard, Secretary of Defense is Yale, and then this young man in Columbia. You know this is all about these schools, these Ivy League schools. Mm-hmm. I believe it's a status. I believe it's people who are entitled that go to these big-time colleges. Can you imagine if I'm a nobody, right? I'm on the bottom of that. Can you imagine I go to a Yale or Harvard or Columbia? You think I'm going to be out there? I'm going to be studying. I'm going to try to get those education back to my community where I come from Jamaica, Queens, New York, to the guys on the streets to see if I can help them start a business. What kind of guidance do they need to start something in the neighborhood? For folks who feel like they have issues, right? They can join the military, just like our ancestors.
Right.
They can join the military and do something about it. See, when you talk like that, Rev, people become quiet because now they know they got to wake up, do push-ups. Now you got to wake up in the morning, go do a run. Now you got to go over there and produce foreign policy. You got to put your words into action, Rev. And Rev, you are correct. And the voters here on this show, the media needs to stop doing this crap, this MSNBC, CNN, all of these guys. They deport people, right? Look at Panama. Why is the media putting a video making it look like it's crazy? Anybody could go to Panama and see what Panama looks like. It's our job to reach out to those folks that's deported.
Right. That's right.
Figure out what kind of talent they have, figure out what kind of skills, and we can use the same media to help each other. Because the people that's coming in right now with Trump administration, they're using the media to carry out their messages on how they're going to, do their job in the government. We need to start using the social media, reach out to people that's been deported, figure out what skills that they had, and make those countries way better.
I like
You're exactly right, Rev.
We
have got to go a different way.
I like it. Thank you for your call. Very bright brother. Yes. Thank you for your call, Yusef. Excuse me. Let's go to Ozzy. Ozzy in Cincinnati, Ohio. The Buzz. Ozzy.
Bless you, Bishop.
Bless you.
I do respect you ultimately as you deserve, with the respect you deserve for all you have done for our people. Yet still, I want to become one of the most controversial callers on your show, but do it with respect. And part of it is is to say that I am disheartened with the Democratic Party. I see how they came after 10 white people in the Democratic Party came after House Representative Al Green. I see how 10 white Democrats bum rush Hakeem, Represented Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. They bum rushed the brother, diminishing, in my opinion, his authority by undermining what they were in agreement with, from what I understand, the position that they were going to hold to fight Trumpism. But it was the Senate Minority Leader that, after the vote in the House, decided that he wasn't sure the way he was going to vote, and then swapped into the position of backing the Republican House of Representatives. If we're not going to be real about this, if the Democratic Party isn't going to be truthful with us and our leaders, and when I say our leaders, as you are our leader, I'm thinking about the black community who we have hope in, and that is black people that we vote into office to represent us because they understand what we're going through. Those 10 people, those 20 people that voted to silence Al Green don't know what we're going through. They don't know the fear that we face every day now.
Let me suggest this, and I appreciate your call, appreciate what you said. And by the way, Congressman Al Green will be speaking at our convention in April 2nd through the 5th. He's definitely going to be there. And you may know I had him on Politics Nation the Saturday after they voted against him. What I want you to consider, Ozzy, is that we need to deal with those individuals, whether it be Schumer, whether it be those 10 people you referred to, and not say that's everybody in the Democratic Party. There are 59 blacks in Congress, 59. If 5 of them do something, that doesn't mean the other 55 did it. In any party, in my organization, National Action Network, you can have disagreements. My assessment is that about 78 to 80% of blacks are Democrats. We should be taking over the party, or say we go to another party and everybody go there. But we can't do nothing by ourselves, and we are going to disagree. Some say, I'm going to leave the party and go independent. Well, what independent party do we control? Cornel West ran. What happened? Let's be wise about our next moves. Let me get a break. I hear the music. Thank you for your call. Always good to hear your voice, Ozzy. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real. That's when Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, came here out of Great Power. He was pastor here at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year when civil rights and politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the 2 most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing. And I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, to Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor State right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized. If there ever was a time, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phones. I see Rufus is back. I said he was disconnected. Rufus in Georgia, WAOK. Come on, Rufus.
All right. How you doing, Reverend Al?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, I'm right in the middle of eating something. I'm about through with it. I just wanted to say that, this thing is coming right back full circle, And when our people were first brought to America, they know who we were. That's why they whitewashed our religion. See, Christianity and Judaism, that's really a black man's religion. And they had to give us, to keep us under control, they had to give us a white Jesus, a white Moses, and all these white figures. These white evangelicals got a lot to do with Donald Trump's rise in this country. They got a lot to do with it. They are not guiltless. You know what I'm saying? And they're almost the main perpetrator behind all this bull. I won't say the words. And they need to be called out on it. But we can't escape it. It's coming full circle. Because, like I say, Donald Trump went and used religion and he used culture. That's how he was able to manipulate his way into power. His end is coming because God is still on the throne. But like I say, they use our own religion and culture, because that was our culture. I don't care what nobody say about it. They can say, I'm not a Semite. I am a Semite. And they have already proven that the people in West Africa, that many of them, like in South Africa, this is what it's all about in South Africa. The Bantu, they have already proven that they were Hebrew people. You see what? So I mean, that's all it is. It's coming full circle. But God is at the end of it, and we gonna make it. They ain't.
Absolutely. I thank you for your call. Let me go to Press in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, WNOV. Press.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey, one, I just wanted to say I agree with you. You know, I did 25 years in law enforcement, and what he's trying to do is bait, people of color to see if he can get, protesting things like the Black Lives Movement, because the only thing he has yet to try to do is see what control he has over the military. And he wants to declare martial law so he can, shut down a lot of things and make arrests. And so I agree with you where, we got to watch what he's doing, because constantly baiting and just, they keep throwing out there about letting Chevron go for, killing George Floyd, because one officer is out, that was one of the co-defendants. He did 3.5 years. He's out. But those are things that we got to look for. Then I had a question for you. With these private companies, and I'm just trying to get a clear understanding when it comes to DEI. If they're private, he can't detect what they do. If they want to call it something else on their program or whatever, but they can still have a program that includes people of color, and, beginning promotions, things of that. I mean, because these are private companies, and with the universities at some point, especially with HBCUs, had to get to a point, okay, we got to do some things that, hey, we can raise money and cut ties with the federal government. And the last thing I say, we have to change the scenario where, hey, the federal money that they're getting, that's our money. That's the taxpayer money. And they constantly want to say, like, it's an entitlement, like Social Security. No, you're spending our money that we're paying our tax dollars for. And we see a lot of wasted time, the vendettas, useless investigation, like on the news today talking about Biden's pardons were not legit because they're auto pen and stuff like that, so he can prosecute people that investigated him. So there's a lot of things that we don't have to be watchful, but again, if there's things we can eliminate them where he has no control over, then, we can move forward. So those are just my comments and, whatever feedback. But if you can give me clarification on DEI, if that's correct as far as doing that, then let me know. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. I was listening and reading at the same time. I think. All right, let me start in the midway of what you said. I think that it is very important as we discuss where we're going politically, that we understand that the agenda must be based on us empowering ourselves to move in whatever way that we decide. And we don't always have to agree, but we have to be empowered. And I think that a lot of us have not been clear on the goals of being free to develop our communities in whichever ways we want, building businesses, education, whichever way we work. A lot of us, I think, get caught up in the weeds, Prez, and not deal with what the real goals are. And as long as they can distract us or provoke us, they win. And like we were saying, and you referred to it, I think he really wants a reason to call martial law, a reason to call out the military so that he can further his agenda. Because if we have a riot, at the end of the riot, then what happens? We got to bail people out of jail, get people out of hospital, and probably out of cemetery. And he uses that to even intensify the politics against us, because he says, see, I told you they're out of control. You need a strong man like me. We have to be smarter than that. And have, that's why I keep talking about boycott. That's why I keep talking about economics, because that they can't rationalize. These people believe in the almighty dollar. And if you deal with that surgically and strategically, that will catch their attention. But I thank you for your call. Let me go to Al in Cleveland. Al,
Let's take a break.
Al, let's take a break first. I'll come right back to you. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. The more you grind, the more you realize that people look and behave exactly like the choices they make every day. Whatever your choices are, how you eat, how you exercise, how you handle your temperament, how you handle challenges, whether you're disciplined, all of that is reflected in how you appear and how you behave every day. Your daily choices. That's why no matter where I am and no matter how much I have to do, I stay on my grind, working out, watching my diet, and trying to deal with my temperament, because my behavior is a reflection of my choices that I make every day. And I don't worry about people being in opposition. People that oppose you are the ones that believe in your power and your potential more than anything. If they would oppose something that didn't have some force and power with it. So make your daily choices carefully and be very loyal and committed to the choices you make.
Beyond law, I love you beyond life, and see the ways that God has brought you. Oh, anybody is the mother-in-law of exemplified loyalty and commitment. National Action Network Live on 107.5. Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice, no peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice.
Gift of $500. So God bless you.
So you want to know who to vote for mayor or governor in New Jersey? It's got a race, and there are races all over the country. What you need to do is based on this is what we're facing. And this is who we think can best address what we face. You don't vote for personalities, you vote for your interest. And you most have the person that has a proven track record that they will stand up for your interests. And if others don't represent your interests, if they've had a title but not a function, then they should not continue to have that function. This is not about giving somebody power that will not use the power for us. We empowered you to empower us, not to add to your resume. Well, I don't know if we need a fighter in Congress. I don't know if we need a fighter for mayor. Well, if they ain't gonna fight, they ought not be there because you got something to fight about. Do y'all realize that they have a man that has never been voted on, never been vetted by Congress, that's firing hundreds of federal workers at whim, just fire them. 30% of federal employees are veterans. He's firing them. No regard for nothing. Couldn't be president. He born in South Africa. Grew up there. And nobody opening their mouth. Our chairman of the board, Dr. Richardson, and I hosted a call this week with some civil rights leaders, Zoom call, civil rights leaders and the heads of all the black church denominations. And we were all informing them and they were informing us. They are ready to be activated. And they say our ministry is this: National Baptist Convention, Progressive Baptist, Church of God in Christ, Bishop Sheard, great man. All of them on. They ready to work. And some of them already doing the work. But you run around criticizing folk that's doing more than you. Democrats ain't nothing, church ain't nothing, so-and-so ain't nothing. So the whole world was waiting on you. Now, I'm not saying any of that is perfect. But James Brown used to sing, you got to use what you got to get what you want. And most of us don't understand that all of us are climbing out the same situation. And if we can just make sense to each other, we are not each other's problem. We can be each other's solution. And that's one of the things that Women's History Month underscores to us. Women, I heard Zelda talking about how his mama raised it. It reminded me of my mama. Because women found a way when men wouldn't stand up and face their obligation. I know a lot of y'all don't want to talk about that, but I'm an example of that. That black women had to stand up for black children. When black men walked away, they stood up anyhow. They had to deal with racism and sexism, but they put food on the table. Women's History Month means something different when you've been raised by a single black mama. And that...
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back 1-877-532-5797. I believe we're going to Al. Had we done Al in Cleveland?
Okay, yeah. Yes, Reverend Al, I'd like to start off by saying, like to raise praise to the supreme power, wisdom, most gracious, most merciful, the Lord of our understanding, awareness, and insight. My story for the day, I like to put what I have to say like this, Reverend Al. When truth is known, justice is served. Justice is served when truth is known. The truth is the light, and the truth shall set us free. The truth unfolding in our future is violating our health rights and needs and history as we the people. Let me repeat this. The truth that's unfolding in our future is violating our values, health, rights, and needs as we the people. The fight is about anything that constitutes our health, rights, and needs. And I like to reflect also as far as Al Green and what he performed. I would like to relate what he did and relate it to the story of Solomon. The story where the baby, Solomon was going to chop the baby in half.
Right.
And the real mother stood forward. Al Green stood for the truth. And that's what I saw when he stood up. And this is what the rest of the leadership should be aiming for. And the same thing with, what's his name? Chair Schumer. Okay, now in regards to him, we have to roll with the punches. Either way, it was going to be a struggle on the outcome. But I think in the way he did it, we have more time to think through what needs to be done. And it's up to the people now that's on the street to get up and, hey, it's about our health rights and needs here now. What's unfolding in this country is, and even overseas, all that, he's running the country like he think he's Putin, or he reflecting that image, and we have to stop it. It has to be stopped, and the only way it's going to be stopped is we deal with the truth and the violating processes that's going through, and the courts need to stand tall on that issue, because there right now is the only screen that I see that we can, we have a foundation to build on, so something like this can never happen again. Come on, we're talking about a criminal running the country now. So, I'm just being for real. No truth, no justice, no peace, Reverend Al. Hello?
Let us go back to, let's go to Demetrius in Cleveland, Ohio, WERE. Demetrius.
Hey, thank you, Reverend Sharpton. I just want to speak on a few subjects quickly. Concerning the cuts in education, I think it's important, that people realize, a lot of programs that's set up for the handicapped and the mentally disabled, will be affected, because a lot of those clients, in those agencies, they depend on going to those workshops so they can socialize with people, who are on their same level of intelligence. Also prepare them, to live on their own, to teach them how to cook, clean, and sometimes get jobs, outside of the home. And we already know how Donald Trump spoke in the past concerning the handicapped and mentally challenged. So I think it's important, that people realize, that he may not care too much, about that sector of the country of people, who depend on those having that type of training and getting out the house and not being dependent totally on people to take care of them, and also so they can live on their own, or they can live in a group home and take care of themselves. And also, when it comes to some of the immigrants been sent to El Salvador, I'm curious of what type of arrangement were made with El Salvador, because I'm pretty sure.
I understand it was a monetary arrangement. That's I read somewhere.
Okay.
I can't say I know that to be a fact, but that was one of the reports.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. And I'm also curious, is the prisons, they're private prisons, that there's someone in this country have investment in, or is it?
No, this I do know, Demetrius. The El Salvador prison is supposed to be one of the worst archaic prisons in the world. They don't even give them sheets and all. They sleep on slabs and mostly naked. That's one of the reasons they made the deal to put them in El Salvador. The claim has not been proven, but they claimed they were Venezuelan gangbangers, criminals, but they sent them and put them in El Salvador. And one of the reasons is because of that jail, but there's also reports that there was some money exchange between this government and El Salvador and Venezuela.
Okay, I understand. And also, I believe, even though there was immigrants here in the United States, they still have a right, to go through the criminal justice process. They shouldn't just been sent there. I believe that's why the ACLU had the lawsuit, because if they sent them there without them going through the legal procedures, this administration can do that to any group of people in the future. That's why I believe it's important, that Donald Trump administration be checked and held responsible for what they're doing, because it can be a rolling ball, that have anyone who in this country not having a due process in the criminal justice system, if he's able to do that, to any segment of people in this country. And lastly, with the Israeli bombing of Gaza again, it seemed to me, it's difficult for Hamas to agree, to a ceasefire, total ceasefire, if Israel's not going to agree that they're going to stop bombing Gaza, they're going to come to a complete stop of the war. I believe that's why I believe Hamas don't want to release all the hostages, because Israel haven't made a guarantee that they're going to stop the war completely. So, not saying it's right, I hate to say innocent people being held, but I believe that's why Hamas is not letting the people go, because they figure they let them go, Israel is going to continue the war. So I believe the only way I believe it's going to be resolved, Israel have to put it in writing that the war is going to end. I believe the hostages will be released. Okay,
Well, I think you've got on both sides of that, Demetrius, resistance.
Okay.
Because on one side, you have those saying that claim to be speaking for Hamas, that they'd have no guarantees, and that the weapons will be laid down. On the other side, there are those that say that Netanyahu does not want it to end, because if it ends, then he goes and finishes his trial and may go to jail. And that's why you've seen tens of thousands of Israelis marching against Netanyahu. Netanyahu is down in the polls, I think it's 70% negative in Israel. What's keeping him in power is this war. And his buddy is Donald Trump. Isn't it interesting? Both of them have been under indictment at the same time and support each other.
That's true, and it goes to Donald Trump, Netanyahu, and Donald Trump picked the run, the cutting of the budget with what is name from South Africa.
Yeah.
You see, they
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Yeah, Elon Musk. They all ran. They trying to put in apartheid, Jim Crow type of system. Same way Netanyahu, dealing with the Palestinians, the same way Donald Trump trying to take the clock back, Jim Crow in America, in the same way Musk, came from South Africa with apartheid systems. They all have that same mindset.
Same mindset.
So those three.
Same mindset. Let me go. Let me read. Go bring up Marshall Amdur. Is that Amdur?
Ambrosia.
Ambrosia. Okay, 'cause I couldn't. The whole name didn't come out on screen. Ambrosia. Okay. It says you keep chanting. We need to organize ever since I started listening to you when Obama was still in office. Why hasn't it happened yet? It did happen. And it continues happening. I'm saying we need to continue organizing. We organized and was able to get the Affordable Care Act in and countered the organizing of the Tea Party that tried to end it. What do you think, that the Affordable Care Act just happened by accident? We organized, marched, counter-marched the Tea Party. We got, when we had the shooting in Ferguson and Eric Garner, we got organized, marched on Washington, marched in other places, got Obama to have a police review. That's when they made it federal about putting cameras on police. cameras on police did not happen until we organized. Now just about every police department in the country did. We saw an increase in terms of HBCUs getting money. All of that is part of organizing. There's not going to be one organizing that ends all problems. They don't on their side have it. So, yeah, you're right. We've been organizing and saying organized since Obama, even before Obama. And that's how we got some things done. When we don't get nothing done is when we don't organize. I'm glad you put your comment in. I hope you heard the answer. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go to our live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Keeping it real. Sharpton.
God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's so good to me. Let me tell you, God has everybody, sometimes, He has set me free. I feel so good. Oh yeah. One more time. Yeah. Every day of my life, I feel it. You give me strength and energy. Help me to sing. He's been good to me. Oh yeah.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton of Brooklyn, New York. I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people, and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body, if He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God doesn't smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say this song. I say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. He has set me free. God has smiled on And she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief. All we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burdened down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 don't smile on me. Now then, the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. That has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I say, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on me. We need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Clay Powell said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dream of, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. Lord, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has the answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God he was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God will make a way out of no way. If you just keep the faith and refuse to lose, and God will make a way, because God's children don't have color. God's children just have will. And I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me sing here. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now, because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all the neutralized. If there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action, and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here, and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Trisha's writing on our page, our page on the live stream, nationalactionnetwork.net live stream. She said, I think it is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. I also heard Bannon say that he has buku dollars to dump on elections so they tolerate Musk. Yeah, I think I heard that as well. That the word is, because it seemed for a minute that Bannon and Musk were knocking heads, as we say. And let me tell you something. You know, we act like there's always unity on the other side. Everybody has differences like we do. But they the ones that succeed are the ones that put their differences aside for what they call the greater good or for their purpose. And Bannon and Musk agreed on 2 or 3 things. But the word is they got together because Musk has agreed to put up finances because they face some elections this year and they face the midterm elections next year. And they know this ain't over. That you have mayor races from New York across the country. You have next year gubernatorial races, Senate races, and congressional races in the midterm. So if they cannot finance their campaigns, they have problems. And I think that it is very, very, very wise to understand that this is not a one-shot deal. Like I was saying to the guy that talks about, we still talking about organizing. So is Bannon. So is Trump. Everybody keeps organizing because you're not going to get everything you want at one time, and then you're going to get setbacks. Have we gotten setbacks on some of the things that we were able to move with Obama? Not everything we wanted, not everything we should have got, but we got some things. And then we got Trump for 4 years and got some setbacks and was able to organize a whole some things. Then Biden come in. We got more money we ever got for HBCUs. We got the restoration and keeping of the Affordable Care Act that they call Obamacare. 25 million people got health care. That ain't, and most of them, many of them, didn't have health care before that, and many of them black. So, and then we get knocked back again. Now Trump is back in. So you have to keep organizing. Organizing is a process. It's not a prize fight where you organize for 6 months and then you won everything for the rest of your life. Doesn't happen like that. And they know that. Trump lost, and they kept organizing for 4 years and came back. Biden beat Trump. A lot of us forget that. But they never stopped organizing. they never stopped meeting. That's why I say all the time, we have different people that organize different ways. And National Action Network and other legacy organizations, we've been here for years doing it and keeping it going. Believe me, it's not easy. National Action Network was formed in 1991, and we had no money. I think I had $200, and that was my lawyer's money. Michael Hardy, gave. And we were able to build now, we're in the chapters in 128 cities. We meet every Saturday for 34 years now. Every Saturday. Never stopped organizing. So we got racial profiling laws on the books. We fought and got voting rights in terms of having it restored twice, then lost with Trump some. On and on and on, police brutality. Like I said, cameras on police. Now, that don't sound like to you unless you get whipped by police and that film saves your life. So a lot of us has these utopian, unrealistic dreams of what organizing is. Organizing is on the ground, hard, one step at a time. Sometime one case at a time. One of the things I also try to tell a lot of young people, and then we have our youth departments called Huddle, is that if you tell me a lot of major steps that happened in history, particularly for blacks, and I'm taking your calls. I know I'm talking, but I'm taking your calls. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. If you look at our history, I was saying this other day, and I think people didn't realize it. When it was the freedom riders that were beaten in their riding and getting on the buses and sitting where they weren't supposed to. It was the graphic examples of them being beaten on buses and some buses bombed that helped lead us to the Civil Rights Act. The 1964 Civil Rights Act, yes, 63 we had the big march on Washington where Martin Luther King made the historic speech that we call I Have a Dream, but he said a lot more than that in the speech. But the impetus that shocked the nation, I want y'all to get this now, is after the march. A man put dynamite in the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham and killed 4 little girls in Sunday school. That's what shook the country. And they passed the 64 Voting Rights Act. That tragedy, Dr. King and those of that era turned that pain into some power. It was the beating, tear gassing on the Edmund Pettus Bridge that went around the world on television that led to the Voting Rights Act. So that's why Trayvon Martin led to certain things we were able to get that led to George Floyd getting the camera on police, that led if you are organized and stay organized, that's why we meet in mass every Saturday. That's why I have offices all over the country that's open every day. And I don't get one federal, state, or city grant. We raise our money from our members, our conventions, and let people advertise and all. We raise our money because nobody can tell us to stop because there's not only one source that finances us or that put guidelines where it's state money or federal money, y'all can't march, y'all can't protest, y'all can't take this position. They can't say that to us because we don't take none of that. So we're not violating nothing because we don't agree to that. Now, you must be able to use situations that shouldn't happen to dramatize why you need legislation to make permanent as much as possible that it doesn't keep reoccurring. And organizers understand that. But those that have never organized nothing sit back wondering why you can't just wave a magic wand and everything be all right. It doesn't happen on our side. It don't happen on their side. If they could wave a magic wand, Biden would have never beat Trump. So don't act like, oh, well, you know, it's always one step backwards, one forward, and one backward. And that happened to them, too. I think sometimes we give them too much credit. I think sometimes we make them appear so all smart and all powerful, and we are not. It's not the case. And I think that it is, in my opinion, wisdom to understand this is going to be a struggle and a process. And you fight to gain what you can, hold on to what you lose, and turn it around and keep going. And it's generation to generation. Look at South Africa. Mandela and others stayed in jail for years. Mandela stayed in jail 27 years. He didn't go to jail for 6 months and say, all right, this didn't work, let's cut it. They stayed there till they took over the democratic process, created a democratic process in South Africa. 1994, I was there as an election observer. But they still didn't get the economic empowerment. They're in the process of doing that now. It is a process. Just like growing up is a process. You born a baby. You grow into a boy, then a youngster, then a man, then a grown man, then an older man. Life is a process. Let's talk like we understand that. All right, I'm taking your calls. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now Because with this here, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action, and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here, and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there. Stop telling yourself you're not confident of what you could do. When people with half your skills and a quarter of your talent have gone on to create big waves in life, if you look at them and you know you're more gifted than them, then what is your problem? You are looking for someone to come and drag you into success. You've got to use what you have, which is, in my judgment, more skillful than others I've known in your area. Use that and believe in that, and your confidence will build up as you get going and start doing. And don't chase the spotlight. Sharpen your skills. Live in your purpose. And you'll get so good the spotlight will be chasing you. Be so good they can't help but talk about you and put the spotlight on you. You don't get your energy from chasing the spotlight. You get your energy by chasing your purpose. The spotlight and other adulation will come with it. Have a great day. That's when Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, came here, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now, at Ethiopian Coptic Cross. That was my first year when Civil Rights and Politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. But you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. No justice! No justice! No justice! What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
You live, sir.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Let me say by announcements, and our phone lines in Dallas where our calls come through is having problems. So if you try and keep trying, we're trying to get it rectified and not have to go to tape, but we will if we have to. But let me give these announcements before we do that, and I'm going to read some of the people that have come on the board on our live stream page. But don't forget Politics Nation. I've already started making calls for this weekend, and make sure you tune in 5 p.m. Eastern Time at MSNBC both Saturday and Sunday. Now, Putin and Trump spoke today. We're going to see what that leads to. So I'm going to have some people in the Senate Foreign Affairs Committee analyze that at the end of the week. By the end of the week, we'll know whether they still got hostages, whether they got escalation or de-escalation. And we still got to deal with this whole question of taking segregation off of federal contract requirements. Politics Nation is going to be hot and heavy this weekend. I can tell you that, and it's only Tuesday. And to all of you that watch it every week, and I know because I look at Tuesday, we get the ratings. We got the ratings this morning, big ratings, had high ratings on most of the shows that came on that day, especially the hour we were on. So keep supporting us, and I promise we'll keep speaking up on the issues that you want and are concerned about. Then, of course, you that are in the New Jersey, Connecticut, New York area, meet us at the Saturday morning rallies. I'm there every Saturday. Even if I have to go cross country, I get back for Saturday mornings to be part of the rally, to energize and to be a part of a communal energy fighting for justice. Nothing like being connected to other people. You can be having trouble on the job, trouble at home, but with you with a body of people that are trying to do something to enforce what is right and just in the community.
Phone lines are back.
Then you ought to be a part of it. Every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, the Village of Harlem. And then lastly, of course, the National Action Network Convention. You can get the whole schedule at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and everybody from Dr. Michael Eric Dyson to Ben Crump to Stacey Abrams to Patti LaBelle, everybody. And but you can read every workshop has people of prominence in their field, and it's all free. But register. 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651, or go online to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. All right, I think we have the line straight. You can call in 1-877-532-5797. you that were trying to get through, we just got the line straight in Dallas, so you can call through, and I will talk to you on the phone. Let me read a couple of off of our page on live stream. Frederick McLeod said wrote, it took the conservatives 44 years to get to this moment in time. Very important point. And the second point is, he said, we have to be just as relentless as them again. And I think that's the whole point I'm making, is that they were relentless. They didn't win. Do you know the shock it was to them that we elected a black man named Obama president? They just got the Tea Party going, and it took them years. They started with the birther movement, went into the Tea Party, went in from there to MAGA, and Trump won in 16. They couldn't defeat Obama even after in 12. We elected him in 8, re-elected him in 12. They didn't give up. They didn't start turning on each other. They kept going. And look at where they are now. They put this man in the White House, and they took the Senate, and they took the House. If we would stop talking ourselves out of the battle, we could win and hold on to our win. Let's go to David in San Francisco. David, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Is David there? I don't hear David.
Yeah, David just hung up. Try number 2.
All right, I didn't hear David. David might have hung up. Let me see if Ron is there in California. Ron?
Ron here. Yes, sir. I had a question. I back in the 70s, was a court-appointed conservator for military, public, and private hospitals and the psych wards. And I had to take patients in who showed signs of instability off their baseline. And I heard a report today that Mr. Musk made a statement that he didn't understand why all the hate was on him because he never hurt anyone.
Sir, I got Reverend Walrun for you.
Now, when he said physically, that told me that he was cognizant. He was aware that what he was doing out of that, but he was saying he never hit anyone or hurt anyone physically. And he didn't understand all the hate on him. Well, this man has so many signs of disability. If I were working then and he happened to be someone that was noted as a possible patient, I would have to bring him in for observation. That's not disassociated from the president himself. I would do that with. What is the matter with these people? Don't they see that these people have psychological disabilities? You can be a genius and have a psychological disability.
Sure you can. Sure you can. No, thank you, Ron. You're right. Thank you. And you certainly can have that. Now that we have the phone line straight, let me bring in my co-host every Tuesday at this hour, the senior pastor of the First Corinthian Baptist Church in Harlem, as well as member of the National Board of National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Michael A. Walrun. How you doing, Reverend Walrun?
Hey, Rev, I was about to go do some part-time work for Verizon.
I know that's right. Somebody messing up over there or something's going on. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Give me your assessment. Trump has only been in 2 months, and from just about killing DEI to now segregation don't have to be in federal contracts to we're seeing all kind of changes in the global scene. He talked with Putin today. We don't know what that means. He's abandoned Ukraine. Then he's back with him. He all but cussed out Zelensky. I mean, is this what they call flooding the zone, where they're throwing so much at us that they're getting something done and we can't even understand the depth of it because they're throwing something at us not every day but almost every other hour?
Yeah, they're throwing things at us, and as you said, Rev, I think they're just, at this point, seeing what they can get away with. I think so far this has been a disaster. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what pretty much we knew they were going to do. Those of us who paid attention to Project 2025, those of us who actually listened to Trump and some of his surrogates on the campaign trail, this is what they said they would do. Now, of course, they hid it behind the economy and attacking Joe Biden and saying how horrible the country is. But and remember his statements about how everything would change on day one. When we passed day one, the economy is worse. Inflation is still going up. Eggs are high. I mean, go on and on. So the things he ran on, he has not dealt with. But he's doing all these other things in an attempt to undermine, I think we know this, undermine policies that have been in place for generations, policies that protect the vulnerable in our country, policies that seek to equal out the playing field, policies that have been in place for a long time. And what it says that they don't care. He doesn't care. His people doesn't care. The people who are really cheering him along don't care about people who are struggling in this country and people who are having a hard time in this country. And it's going to get worse. Usually we say it's going to get worse before it gets better. I don't even know what better looks like at this point, Rev.
You ain't kidding. Let's take a break and get our calls lined up. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Walron. Be right back. Work is required. And if we can't stand up now, you got a president in the White House that has said outright, I'm not going to have diversity. Outright said he's not going to deal with the question of racism. Outright said he's suspending anything that guarantees that we're going to deal with the question of racism. In fact, he said they are oppressing white folk. What Trump said. And you are not saying nothing. And you in the pulpit? Well, every prophet in the Bible, everybody in the Bible prophesied and preached according to the time in which they lived. There are no out of place prophets. There are none that God sends to discuss what happened or what's going to happen. He uses them to happen right there. Moses didn't preach about Abraham. He got the strength from the lineage of Abraham to lead the Exodus. What will they say about our story? What will they say about our generation? If when you have blatant racism, you two are afraid to stand up and call the truth out. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. Be ready for the National Action Network's National Convention, April 2nd through the 5th, 2025, in New York at the Sheraton. This year, and the 57th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King, they're trying to take back everything he stood and died for. We convene every year in April to make sure they know that they killed the dreamer, not the dream. We have workshops on everything from business development to dealing with our legal needs, from police reform all the way to how we deal with sentencing, how we deal with immigration, how we deal with the arts and entertainment. We have big names that come every year, but don't come for the big names, come for the big plans and the big execution. Register now. Because with this year, as we are under assault with DEI, under assault with ending the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, under assault with now consent decrees and all are neutralized, if there ever was a time that you should come to a National Action Network convention, now's the time. We don't need a lot of philosophizing. We don't need a lot of showing how smart you are. We need action. We plan action and then we go and do action. I'm looking for you. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net. We have no registration fee. You don't pay to register. Just get here and let's get it on. National Action Network Convention, April 2nd through the 5th. I'm going to look for you there. That's when Haile Selassie, Emperor of Ethiopia, came to me, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was pastor here now. That Ethiopian Coptic cross. That was my first hero on civil rights and politics.
As I know here, you're in trouble, where it says about 30% are unemployed. That's why I'm working hard to get this surplus food here. Some of you say to me, well, I'm not like you. I'm not a congressman. I haven't got education. I haven't got work. because you're a human being. And you know what you've got? You've got in your hand the power to use your vote and to use even those few cents you get from welfare to spend them only where you want to spend them.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. One of the things that we're going to deal with is this DEI and deal with how we target a company that has joined the anti-DEI movement. Now, there are other efforts going on, and I support them. I'm not against nobody doing whatever they think is right. But I know how to do a boycott. I'm not talking about, I support what a bishop is doing in Georgia, Reggie Jackson, and my friend and brother Jamal Bryant doing the 40-day don't buy. That's great. Somebody else is doing shutdown on the 28th. That's great. They put my name out there. I know about it, but I'm not against it. But what we must do is we're going to convene it real. At the network convention. Where Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Reverend Dr. Michael A. Walron is our co-host. Don't forget, as I said, Politics Nation, Saturday and Sundays, 5 p.m. And we had a great lineup last weekend, and we're going to have one this weekend. All of this going on. I'm making calls myself, getting these senators and governors on to explain what is really happening and how it relates to us. And certainly every Saturday, I'm at the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally, 9 a.m. to 11. You in the tri-state area, meet me there this Saturday at 106 West 145th Street in the village of Harlem. And, of course, we're live on Impact Television, the largest black-owned gospel network in the world, and on live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And people are going to the nationalactionnetwork.net to see the whole schedule for National Action Network Convention. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Already several thousand have signed up, pre-registered. It's free, but it guarantees them a seat in the workshop of their choice. We have everyone from Ben Crump to Stacey Abrams to Dr. Michael Eric Dyson to Patti LaBelle is going to be honored, and Tatiana Ali, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Reverend Walron is going to be on our ministers panel. Reverend Ralph West will be preaching. 8 state attorney generals is coming to talk about how they can stop Trump, what they're doing in their states, on and on and on. So I really want you to sign up before I have to close out signing. Reverend Walron, what's going on at First Corinthian Baptist Church, FCBC?
Well, Rev, we are gearing up and getting ready. Our Women's Weekend is coming up. But I had to take this time, Rev, to share something. Last month and this month, we had 2 amazing articles in NPR. One was about my creating the Hope Center and focusing on mental illness as a church, which is not the norm. And then the other one was on the Hope Center this month and the work they're doing with teenagers and mental health and teens being in a mental health crisis in the city. So I had to share that because that place is doing some amazing work and it's starting to get even more traction than it has before about in this regard, it was how we're really working with young people in Harlem.
Yeah, I remember when you started at Hope Center, and it's amazing that you've maintained it and the impact that it has had in our community, and it's deserving of that attention and more. In fact, we need to do something on Politics Nation with you on the Hope Center. Maybe get a crew go up there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, all right, we'll work that out. I love that.
All right.
Let's go to the phones. Miss Whitaker in North Carolina, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Walron.
Hello there. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Great.
Great. It's been a while for me to call. I just want to take a second and thank the judges and everyone that's doing for righteousness, because it's really rough out here. A lot of us is depressed and everything about what's going on. Don't know where to turn, who to talk to. Looking forward to your April event. But I want to take a minute and say thank you to all the judges who are on the righteousness side. That's what I want to say.
All right. Thank you for your call. And that's one of the reasons we're having the convention and coming out of there. We've got to pinpoint the private sector. We've got to have a strategy. And again, everybody doesn't have to do the same thing, but you should at least know what you're doing. We're going to come out there knowing what NAN and those with us around the country are going to be doing. And, a lot of people are more caught up into debating who's right rather than just doing what they feel is right. Jason in Washington, D.C., WOL.
Hi, Reverend Al. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Good. I wanted to, I was listening to a conversation that you had with Demetrius early on, and I think the numbers that you were referring to it, Trump was trying to pay the Salvadorian government $6 million for 1 year to hold those the guys that they have in prison, that the plane that was going to carry them over to El Salvador from the U.S., that figure was $6 million, and that was for 1 year. That was
I didn't know what the figure was. I know that there was some written reports that there was some money involved. So you're saying it was $6 million for 1 year for the Venezuelans that they brought to El Salvador when the judge told them not to bring them.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. I have another question I'd like to ask you, Reverend. What is your take on the Chuck Schumer controversy? There seems to be, some people agree with what the decision that he made regarding the shutdown and the federal government, and others seem to think that that he was wrong in his decision.
Yeah. Well,
what is your take on that?
My take is, and I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. my heart is that we should have let it shut down, and I
Right.
think that they were already doing things, shutting down stuff, and they still are. Schumer called me Sunday while I was leaving, preaching in Jersey, explained he felt that if they shut it down, that they were going to fill those jobs with MAGA people. They were never going to reopen.
Right.
And that was his thinking, and that I should think about it. And I thought about it. I understand his thinking, but I still would not have given Trump that. I think that Trump, I would have not. I would have let him go, shut it down, and fought another day. But I understand what Schumer thought about, and I understand the other 10 senators. So I think that I would have operated differently. But as you know, and then there are those that are saying, well, we should have Schumer removed. And my question is, all right, then who's going to be the next leader? Be careful what you ask for. I can disagree with Schumer on one or two things, but tell me who we are removing him for to be the head of the Democratic caucus. Reverend Walron, what's your view on this whole Schumer controversy?
Yeah, I'm with you, Rev. I think that I would have let it shut down because here's what we know: when it shut down before, the world didn't blame the Republicans.
Right.
So and they rebounded from that clearly, and so I don't think that should have been an operating thing. But I will add this to it, Rev. Shutting it down would have even made more sense if we actually had a hint that there was an actual strategy and plan that's being put into motion now. I don't get that sense, Rev. And maybe I'm off, maybe I'm missing something, but from what I see publicly, there's a lot of reaction, and I don't know if there's an overall strategy and how to deal with it. I got some ideas with strategy, so I'm going to have to call Senator Schumer and tell him.
Right, I wish you would.
But it doesn't seem like it. But I'm with you. I would have let it shut down because it even though it seemed like we kind of gave into it, I think we should have held the line a little bit on that, Rev.
Yeah, I mean, it was like at least hold on for a minute or something.
Right.
But, you know, and again, I'm not calling on him to be removed. I'm not calling on him to stay. I'm saying that, again, when you say Reverend Walron, a strategy, before I jump out there talking about he should be removed for who? Because
to do what?
Yeah,
Right.
To do what? I mean, and do you have the votes for the new minority leader, whoever that is? Right. Because last time I looked, we have, I think, 4 black U.S. senators now? Are you telling me that you think one of them would be the new minority leader? If not, you may get somebody more conservative than Schumer. So a strategy to me is where we go from point A to Z. Don't start ad-libbing and volunteering on me. You know, one of my mentors used to say that there's a difference between a show horse and a workhorse. I said, really? What's the difference? He said, show horse just prances around, looks good. Workhorse has a wagon connected to him. He got to be careful how he prances and how he turn the corner because he can hurt a whole lot of people. So those of us like you, Reverend Walron, that represent people got to be a little more careful turning the corners. We can't just rah, rah, rah because you got to fit in the middle of the night. And when we ask you a question, then you get all emotional. Don't question me. Wait a minute, brother. What are you trying to do? I'm trying to find out what the strategy is. That's what I'm trying to do. I tell you what, don't invite me to the meeting unless we can discuss the real strategy. All this intimidation and stuff don't work with me. I come out of Brownsville, and if I can survive the gangs as a kid, I can sure handle a few ivory tower so-called progressives. Progressive. All right, we getting ready to have to go.
I agree with both of you. I agree wholeheartedly, but I just wanted to get your feedback on that. But I do agree with that because I think that would have been more detrimental in the long run if they kept it going.
I definitely think
agree.
So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your call. Thank you, Reverend Walron. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through. And we're sorry for the mishap with the phones for a little bit, but we got back there. Philip, don't take no mess. He told them Verizon people put Rev back on the air, and they did. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, Tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.